Okay, lads, when I say stop, you stop boxing. When I say break, take a step back. Keep your hands up, protect yourself at all times. Good luck to you both. Good luck.
Third pro outing tonight then, and the first of the new year for 25-year-old Tumi Phillips. Unbeaten in a couple so far, only got his licence last June, and a few months later made his pro debut on one of these shows. Into six-rounders straight away, having won a couple of those. Very relaxed, he's patient, he's measured. Have been the observations of myself and Barry Jones so far. And I think the question tonight is going to be how much of that kind of patience and measure is a mark of his style, or whether he's going to evolve as we go along fight to fight.
Patience is a beautiful thing in boxing, because you see more. If you don't rush your work, you get such a better vision and time to do your work. But also, boxing at one pace all the time can also be a detriment to you as well. You have to be able to change the gears, go box at different tempos. And I think with Phillips, my only criticism, he does everything really well. Boxes well, looks good, he's strong, aggressive, but he does box at one pace throughout the fight, where there are times where he can just, an acceleration in some of his work would just be so different, Andy.
I was talking to his trainer, Kev Lilly, before we went on air, and he's excited about him. He's seen him in the gym. He's seen lots of fighters down the years, Kev. He's an experienced guy, been around some big names, and he's excited about where Tumi Phillips might go. He doesn't know yet exactly where that will be, but he feels like he could maybe reach that British title level, which is a fantastic level. But he just wants to see him let his hands go a bit more. The first couple of fights he has been measured, and he's taken care of business. But from what he's seen in the gym, he would just like to see him step into the middle of the ring and just take a few more risks maybe against guys like this.
Or just go through the gears. And listen, I think you'd rather be patient and relaxed early doors than, as you can often see with prospects and newbies to the ring, is a million miles an hour and maybe all too gung-ho. So there is the scope there, and I think a significant scope with Tumi Phillips to go through those gears as his career progresses.
But what he does so well, he keeps his structure and his shape, and his balance is always pretty good. So even if he's not maybe going through the gears, maybe that we look. You see, you're looking for criticism. Well, you're looking for things to say you can do this better. I think that's the whole thing about evolving. One thing that's important, and Andy mentioned it, in the last fight, beginning of the last fight, about especially late in your career, about staying busy. That keeps your eye in, if you will. It's also very important to be very active early in your career as well, because you're learning all the time, getting comfortable with boxing under the lights.
And sometimes only, actually, Andy, it's through a fight or an experience that you can gain that most valuable lesson. I think we'll see it later on with Tom Welland. I think 3 fights ago, that fight against Marvin Solano, I think that was the biggest learning curve, most important night of Tom Welland's career so far, because since that fight against a really experienced guy who's been at a certain level, since then we didn't have things all his own way, and he had to kind of huff and puff, and he was asked a few questions. His 2 performances subsequently, I think you can really see the difference that night made in his education. So sometimes it's simply just one night, one opponent that can really be the steep learning curve for you.
It definitely can be, and you want to be tested early on, having a couple of softies, getting used to the nature of fight night and all the rest of it. That's fine, that's okay, but there always has to be something at stake. And that comes down to your own motivation a lot of the time. You put yourself under pressure, you expect a lot of yourself. I like Rodrigo, though. I think he's a decent opponent for anybody, because he will come and give it a go. I saw him in Bournemouth 18 months ago, outdoors on the Yokoli CBS undercard, and he was in with Razor Ali, and he gave him a good tussle that night. So if Phillips tries to give it to him a bit, he will respond,
Corners,
which I think would be a good thing for him.
Seconds.
Good night that, wasn't it? Lovely night. Lovely, beautiful,
Round 2.
sunny day. And then when the sun went down, it was absolutely freezing, wasn't it? Absolutely frozen cold on a big night for Chris Billum-Smith. He's going to be back in action upcoming as well, just around the corner. He's booked on that Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Junior bill in April. As we move into the second round of a scheduled 6 there. A nice little sharp counter right hand from Tumi Phillips, looking just to explode into action.
what was good about that for Phillips there, he timed the jab there of Rodrigo. Rodrigo threw a jab, he just took it on the shoulder, let him throw another one, and then when the third one came, he just accelerated with that right hand.
I always think, Andy, the hardest thing for any young prospect coming through in the early stages, the formative fights of their career, is finding your own style. We all, follow people, see people do things that we quite like. We might have heroes in whatever sport it turns out to be, so they can be influential in terms of the style that you've got, but also finding the right balance for you at whatever stage in your career. And those are not easy lessons to learn, and those are not easy pathways to find.
No, they're not, and they're the kinds of things that come with experience, aren't they? And that's, without wishing to get too deep, that's not just in boxing, that's life in general. It's about being comfortable in your own skin, isn't it? And early on you'll have people telling you lots of different things. You'll think that people are talking about you, you'll want to get good reviews, you'll care a bit too much probably about what people outside of that tight circle of people who matter say about you, so you'll be trying to please quite a lot of people probably, when you shouldn't be really. You should just be looking for that method, looking to fine tune and fine hone that method that best works for you, because that is what boxing, more than probably most other sports, is about. You're not going to have many people who have everything, and you work with what you do have. He's got nice quick hands is what he's definitely got. You can see that here.
I think Kevin Lilly will be pleased with the way he's kind of picked up the tempo here in this particular round, Barry.
I think this has been the best round of his career. I think the way he's gone through, he's picked his punches superbly. He's turning the body into every shot as well, so every shot has a bit of purchase on it. And you just see there that thing we talked about, the acceleration of pace. All of a sudden, a blistering 3-4 punch combination. I think he's boxed brilliant here. He's timed as well, Rodrigo, at times. He's set him up for attacks. I think he's looked really good in this round. More of this is what we need, showing his class here.
And then on top of that, maybe just some fine-tuning to get the distance right when you're in and around this kind of range.
It's that low hand and that shoulder turn. I think it's very difficult to get that right when you're trying to be aggressive, that he is. So you are going to take a right hand over the top now and again.
Do you think this style's a good fit for him, Barry?
I do. Again, I'm never a fan of that low left hand when you're coming forward, but the measured approach there with the added change of pace is what we need. I think that's what we've been crying out for, and in that round he gave it to us.
A couple of leading ladies here tonight, ringside. Barry Jones, a world champion, is with us, and maybe a would-be female world champion in a few years' time.
That over there might be my two favourite female fighters, actually. I've got to be honest.
Mine too. Ellie Scottney.
Ellie Scottney's just been fantastic. Unifying the division. So close to undisputed or not. She was at the featherweight in what would be a brilliant match against the fantastic Sky Nicholson. That would be a great fight to make. And Lily Winch, for me, if she can get down to that right weight, but she is tapering down every fight, I think she's a real problem, because I think that's a female fighter there who can pretty much do it all.
Yeah, she is brilliant, and only a few fights into her career. Hopefully we'll get to see her again on one of these shows at some stage in 2025, because she's got a little bit of gold dust, a little bit of stardust about her so far. As we move into the third of
they might
this
fight
one.
each other. If Lily gets down to super featherweight and that's her weight, and Ellie continues with the success and moves up, who knows in a couple of years' time.
Crowd just got into it there. Sudden retreat from Rodrigo. I don't know if he was hurt there, but certainly there just seemed a momentary bit of panic in the system, Andy.
He did give a bit of ground, because it was a quick start to the round from Phillips, and he stepped right on him, and I think a right hand round the back of the guard just got to him slightly. There's quite a big size difference between these two, because he's not really a super lightweight, Rodrigo, to be honest, but he does what you do when you perform the role he has, which is you go where the fights are. But you look at the pair of them in there, and Phillips has got some size on him, and if he can just keep putting them together like this, punching in combination, then I think he can make this rough for Rodrigo. He's tenderising him, isn't he? And he's got 2 more minutes until we get to the halfway.
He just threw a lovely, good body shot there from Phillips. He just threw a lovely, nice little straight 1-2 there, Phillips. I always think if you land with that punch when you're stationary, do it again. I mean, it's such a great punch combination to throw. It's right down the middle. if you open up the defence, there's a gap to go again with it, and I think it's so advantageous to do that.
Yeah, looking sharp. Couple of wicked body shots going in there, and this kind of close-up range seems to be suiting him. A couple of times where maybe he's just cramping his space a little too much, but that'll come with the territory, and that can be fine-tuned. And of course, if you're going to employ this style, Barry, if this is to be his style, then you have to be sort of defensively cute too.
Yeah, and that's the problem with the shoulder turn. That's more of a really attacked when you're sort of always edging back a little bit.
Speaking of the shoulder turn, I was quite impressed by the development of that in Pacheco's work against Nelson the other day. Look, Nelson struggled to land a right hand, didn't he? Pretty much until late on in that fight, and that's just a little cute addition to Pacheco's armoury, which I thought was quite surprising, pleasantly so.
And without going too off topic, you don't really see fighters of his range do that sort of movement either.
Well, Rodrigo, look at that. Whips in a left hook to the body just to remind Phillips that he's here.
Yeah, but I don't mind that so much. Phillips stayed there and he knew it was coming, so he was braced for that. He was just, he's just trying to put a little bit of strength on Rodrigo. He's just trying to tire him out a little bit.
Most of the points, just a reminder, Andy, of guys like Rodrigo, how tough they can be and the kind of job they can do. And sometimes you have to just meet fire with fire if you're in his situation.
It's been a good round, this. It's been a good round to watch. Phillips has had the better of it, but Rodrigo towards the end there just deciding, as you say, that he needs to try and come in to closer range and meet him, and that's a good thing for Phillips heading into the second half of the fight. When you look at Rodrigo, he's got that high guard, but he offers you a lot of body, doesn't he? And those elbows flare away from the ribcage, so you can see why Phillips has been looking to go down to the body and then whip in that uppercut. It's set up well, this, for the second half, I think. If he could just keep, as you said, clicking through the gears here, a stoppage is a possibility, I would say.
And Barry, that kind of defiance we saw there from Rodrigo, was that out of necessity? Is that, in a way, is it a bit of a tell?
I think so. The way Phillips is landing cleanly on the target, Phillips is not a massive puncher, but he's a clean puncher, so punches through the target, those punches have effect. And with the natural size difference, I think Rodrigo, again not a real dancer anyway, he's going to have to fight his way out of trouble. And certainly get close, as Andy was saying, and try and rough him up, use his experience just to get Phillips to rush his work or be untidy or get too close and smother his own work. But at the minute, the balance of Phillips is really good still. He's controlling everything. And I agree with Andy. If he can keep clicking through the gears, was good term there, Andy, then I think he can get the stoppage.
And it's kind of the motif, it's one of the phrases that we sort of used early on in the career of Tumi Phillips about, has he got that in his armoury? I think, to be fair to him, tonight he's already shown that he can add that to his game, because there's already been a bit more tempo and rhythm and spite and energy, I think, to the flavour of what he's brought to the ring tonight.
It's kind of interesting when you look at Rodrigo, the way that he's set up. I mentioned that tight high guard, but when he gets another chance to show it to us, he has those gloves basically right in front of his face, and you can see why Phillips is trying to curl that right hand in round the back of the glove, because the glove doesn't really protect the ear or the temple, it's just the front of the head. And
it's so stupid doing that, because if you get caught with one on the side, you don't see it. The ones you don't see are the ones that really put you in trouble. So you've got to have a tight defence, but you've still got to always be able to see what's coming at you. Again, nice little burst there, combination from Phillips.
Just missed with the uppercut, but he didn't miss with that left hand.
He's just feeling these, isn't he, Rodrigo, a little bit?
Well, as Andy said, there's a clubbing right hand. It just pushes him off as well. Bit of bullying that from Tumi Phillips. Good move.
And he never smothered his work. That was Rodrigo who had to step in close to hold then, not Phillips.
And as Andy said, he has fought down at super featherweight, Rodrigo. 138 pounds he weighed in yesterday for this one. Tumi Phillips, the more natural super lightweight, light welter in old money. British title, of course, won in style, or defended in style by Jack Rafferty last night.
Good display, wasn't it? Really good display.
Yeah, I like him a lot. Solid. Believes in himself. That's a beautiful uppercut there from Tumi Phillips, who's got a bit of belief and confidence in his own work tonight, and by far and away the best performance from him so far.
Everything about it's still continuing. Everything about this is absolutely fantastic. Keeping his shape, hitting the target clean, using that shoulder a little bit, sneakily there just to create the gap to throw more punches.
And with that high guard that Andy was talking about, you've got to find avenues. You've maybe got to be a bit more creative if the traditional straight punches won't necessarily work. And Phillips has managed to do that in this round.
Went to the body, then up to the head there, didn't he? Just right hand into the body, then whipped in the uppercut. And this is going to be a tough last couple of rounds here for Rodrigo, because he doesn't know any other way to do it other than this. He's going to have to take this for the next 6 minutes and be capable of taking it, or find a way to maybe just throw in some bursts to try and keep Phillips off him and just give him something to think about. But it'd be really good to see him just hold Rodrigo's feet to the fire these final 2 rounds and see what happens.
I tell you what, there was a good... Oh, there he goes with the uppercut again, and a flurry towards the end of the round. A dominant round, a bullying round, and little flashes of maybe the fighter that Tumi Phillips can become or promises to be.
Yeah, I thought that was he missed with the right hand at the end of the round, and I think that might be the first punch he missed in that round. I thought he was so economically good, as well as everything else. His as I keep saying, his balance is very important, because when somebody comes back, he's always braced to either block and then counter, because he doesn't lean too far over the back foot or too far over the front foot when he's advancing. Don't for you to hold him up. He slides forward, physically stronger, bullying you, but and also uppercutting and hooking with the same hand, and that really opens up the defence. You always expect him, especially with an uppercut, if you throw a right uppercut, a left hook's coming. A left uppercut, a right hook's coming. With Phillips, it's the same hand, and that's really confusing Rodrigo.
I think what's really impressed me so far tonight from Tumi Phillips is the work rate, and the output has been so much higher and better than it has in his first couple of fights from September of last year. There was a good little defiant left hook to the body from Rodrigo just before that late flurry from Tumi Phillips, and that might just have staved some of the attention. But here Phillips is going after him at the start of this 5th round.
When Rodrigo came forward and threw a punch, Phillips just moved the foot round the outside, just like a little spin, little pivot. I'd like to see him do that when he's being aggressive. Just open up the body a little bit more. You haven't got to take a massive... Oh, good body shot. You haven't got to take a massive step, just a little quarter step, left or right, whatever punch you want to throw, and that opens up that midriff there, and it gives you a free rein, free shot.
Yeah, it was a wicked left hook to the body, wasn't it? Barry called from Phillips.
But not long after that, Rodrigo gave him one back, and that's why this is a good fight for him, because he's in with somebody here who, as hard as this has got at times, he's not just looking to cover up, he's looking to try and get something done himself. He realises he can't be reckless here, Rodrigo, but he's definitely one of these fighters who feels like the closer he is, the safer he is, and the attack for him is probably the best form of defence, because tucking up and trying to take 6 more minutes of this, as I said in the previous round, that's a pretty demoralising prospect, to be honest with you, and it's not what he's looking to try and do.
But you're right, sometimes closer is safer, because you don't want to be on the end of the punches. That's where all the power is. If you get full extension on the shot and turn into it, that's the last place you want to be.
Well, it's why ultimately Ricky Hatton fought the way he did against Costas Yu way back when. Where do you not want to be? Right on the end of that big right hand. So get close, and that tactics, of course, famously worked on that night. Nearly 20 years, isn't it, since Hatton Zhu?
Unbelievable.
I'll tell you what was great about last night as well, not wishing to stray too far away from what we're seeing here, because it is a good watch, is that arena in Manchester was buzzing, wasn't it? I don't know the exact number, but it was well into double figures, I reckon. 12, 13, maybe 14,000. And Chisora is popular, but you look at Rafferty and Miller, who were on the undercard, boxing out Steve Malett's gym, and Nathan Heaney was there too. Didn't go well for Nathan last night, but he brings a good crowd. It's great to see well-attended domestic shows. It's really important they stay strong, and Manchester's always been such a hotbed, isn't it? And
good to see Steve Malett back. Fantastic trainer.
Yeah, and Terry Flanagan was in the corner, wasn't he?
Yeah, looking like a middleweight.
Yeah, indeed. How on earth he got down to 140, which is where Tumi Phillips is fighting, is something of a mystery still. And lovely manoeuvre there from Phillips, just spun him round and carried on with the attack.
Yeah, he's shown some real class tonight so far, hasn't he?
Best we've seen him. I think by a long, long way, best we've seen him. And it's still early doors. First fight of the new year, 3rd of his career, and starting to fine-tune a style that might become his own.
And there will be people saying, but he's up against a guy who comes to lose, really. He's like a journeyman. But it's not all about that. It's you'll do this now. You have the confidence to do this in a more competitive fight, and know the reactions of when you get it right and when you get it wrong. But still, and also we all know Rodrigo will give you a hard night's work if you're not up to the task. And I think he's just bossed it and bullied it, not just with physical presence and natural size. It's been with technique and guile, and as you said, Alex, work rate.
Well, anyone who's watched the first couple of fights in Tumi Phillips' career, you would have had similar notes to us, and that is he's patient, he's measured, his distance control is pretty good, but does he wait, and does he do enough? Those were the big questions. Well, we've seen tonight the answers to those questions. He can do things differently, he can add layers to his game, and regardless of how high he tilts, that's what you want to see. You want to see improvements. Oh, wow! Improvements in defence required there, because he walked onto a shot as he was trying to throw his own. That multiplied the effect. We saw the spray spinning up into the lights. That was a huge worrying moment there for Tumi Phillips. A reminder.
Yeah, this is not, I mean, for someone who has no skin in the game, this is not a bad thing, because you want to see how he reacts to being hurt. Now, how he reacts. Does he go reckless, or does he panic and suffer? Or does he just, calm and just, go back to basics?
I totally agree with that. That was a good right hand. Kind of thrown over the top, wasn't it? A shallow arc on it, and he walked straight onto it, rocked back onto his heels. But these are the kinds of things that you want to see happen to somebody in a fight like this, where he's going to win this fight unless he gets knocked out in the final 2 minutes. And I just cannot see that happening. But this has been a worthwhile outing, because he has looked to try and up it, raise that temperature every round, really let some punches go, and he was on his way in there to do the same thing, and that was why he got caught, because he's trying to be aggressive right up until the very end rather than coast, and it's no bad thing, is it? He took it pretty well.
It hurt him and it dipped his legs, but he took it well, and he recovered quite quickly. So yes, again, you're talking about ticking boxes, little panics, little bumps in the road in a fight itself, not just in your career, and not a bad thing. Things you have to overcome at some point.
Huge swinging right hand there, missed by a mile from Rodrigo, but he was buying the ticket for sure. With a minute to go in this final round that started so brightly for Tumi Phillips, and then had a big moment for him that he had to ride.
What you got to be aware of, Phillips, he has a habit. He uses that forearm as a defensive move, but you've got to be careful, because the elbow gets a bit high, and if that becomes a habit, it's working for him. If that becomes a habit and you start getting worn for that in a fight, you can't stop doing it, because it's muscle memory. So I just think it's something that, I know Mayweather used to do it, but he got away with it. But he's Mayweather. Just got to be careful, because putting your elbow in someone's face, if you can't stop doing that, you could be disqualified for things like that.
Yeah, and that's when we were talking about balance and getting the right sort of blend.
Good habits, bad habits.
Absolutely. I'm a great believer in young prospects getting into the good habits. It would be so easy, especially if you're a puncher, to think you can blow away these journeymen bit by bit by bit, but it's getting into the good habits and out of the bad ones early on that then it becomes imprinted.
But it's been a really good display. I think it's been fantastic tonight. It really has.
Good win that, but more importantly, a significant improvement in performance and style from Tumi Phillips, who gets out in the early part of 2025 and continues his journey. And Andy, as good as we've seen from him.
Definitely, because he did what we've been looking for him to do, and what his trainer's been looking for him to do, which is let those hands go, be aggressive, try and keep that tempo high, keep that pressure consistent and not where it needs to be, and he did that. But Rodrigo absolutely played his part there, because he is that kind of fighter who will look for you. He takes a few on the way, but he will look for you, and he enjoyed that. You can see that.
Yeah, I'm just looking up at him now. He's doing a little jig and a dance, and he's actually just talking to Joe Parry in his corner. And I think he just mimicked the right hand that he threw, Parry. He's doing somersaults and all sorts of that. Yeah, he's done his job tonight. He's had a bit of fun, and they're the kind of guys who as I say, the lifeblood of boxing, but potentially the danger man as well.
And we got to see at this stage of his career the best of Phillips, because he wasn't up against a guy who was looking to run away and just survive. He looked to a guy who didn't come to win. I know that. I know what his role is, but he puts pressure on you, and with that, Phillips was able to show his full array of skills.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 6 rounds of boxing, we go to the referee's scorecard. Referee Lee Every scores the bout 59-55, and your winner, Tumi Phillips.
Tumi Phillips makes it 3 out of 3 so far and starts his new boxing year in style, and I think a really good flavour of maybe what we might come to expect from him. And more importantly, I think a couple of layers added to his game, Barry.
To be honest, he looked good in his first 2 fights. It sounds like he was rubbish, but now he's better. But he was good in his first 2. But there were little things he could do. You could see he could be better. And I think he made that improvement tonight. And I think that sometimes in your career, even early in your career, just making that big step, that big improvement that people have been calling for, just all of a sudden takes you on the next level, confidence-wise, belief-wise, and more importantly, now you've done it, you will do that again and improve on that again. There's a long career ahead of him, and there's lots of learning to do. But in his 3rd fight, to box with that composure, I thought the patience, up the tempo, everything he did there, the balance as always was superb. That was a really good performance for a young prospect.
And I like his colours, the plain black and yellows, a little bit of Rocky 3 about that, Andy. I like it.
There absolutely is. No, the kit is good, the kit is on point, and don't ever let anybody tell you that the kit is not important, because it 100% is. The kit, the walk-on, it matters.
Absolutely. I was a big fan of Dan Aziz bringing back the kind of Bruno Hagler look from the 70s and 80s with the plain velvet, shorter shorts. Big fan. Right. I think Tumi Phillips might have a few more fans on the back of that performance tonight. Let's hear from him now. He's speaking to Ali.
Tumi, you now move to 3-0. Another win and another fantastic performance on a top-tier show. How did that one feel?
Yeah, it felt great. I was relaxed for the first time in camp. My coach will probably tell you this is the first time I smiled in fight week and stuff, so I'm enjoying it, soaking up the moment. Appreciate Johnny for the platform. I'm getting used to it, so yeah, we thank God.
What has been the difference in this camp and this fight week?
World-class sparring. This is my first camp doing pretty much all 8s. My only spar that was 6 was my last spar, so I've been more comfortable doing the rounds, and with world-class operators, it's just my confidence has grown.
Now, you're 6 months into your pro career. Barry Jones on comm said he thinks that's the best performance of your career so far. Do you feel like you're getting better with every performance?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like I'm a man of my word. I told you every time out, all I'm looking for is improved performances, and I think the proof is in the pudding. All 3 has been a step up each time, so yeah, it's good.
Let's bring in your team. How proud are you with him in performances like that?
Yeah, very. He's just, it's all starting to click now, do you know what I mean? He's listening, he's relaxing, he's letting his hands go, and he's a very, very good fighter. He's very powerful, but he'll get a better each fighter.
Now, you said in the media build-up to this one that by the end of the year you're going to be in competitive 50-50 fights. I don't know whether to ask you or maybe your team, but is that the plan next, or are we going to stay busy with some tune-up fights?
I'm 3-0, you know, so I don't see the rush for the 50-50s. It was something that was put towards like the end of the year or, you know, in the future. But for now, we're just building, you know. I started boxing when I was 18 years old, so I'm still sort of learning on the job. But steady, and when the time's right, I'm sure it will happen.
Is the key now just to stay active?
Yeah, 100%. Thankful to my management team, obviously Leon Sudbury, and my mind's gone blank, and Johnny Clark for giving me the opportunities. There's 3 fights in 5 months, and I don't get better than that, so I'm just thankful.
Looking to get on the next few shows? Word to Johnny?
All right, Johnny, yes, please, mate.
Well, it was a fantastic performance. Well done.
Thank you very much.